My motto was if it moves, kick it, and if it doesn't, kick it till it does. We got beat 1-0 by Cardiff in extra time. From that game, I can't remember the rest of that summer. I could not identify a single day. Life intervened by giving me a manager who I fucking despised. Pick the ball. Oh, you, I saved your fucking career. What are you crying about? What do you mean you're angry? Oh, sabotage, self-destruct, explode, you know, what's he doing this for? I was facing retirement and walking with a stick. Drink 12 pints back to back within 3 minutes. And with me admitting where I was at, he had every right to sack me. I did what I did despite all the shit that I lived with.
Clarke Carlisle.
Hello.
How are we doing?
Happen, I'm grand. Yeah.
First time I've seen Clarke without him fucking smashing me. It's still time.
There's time.
First minute.
There's time.
Britain's brainiest footballer, lads.
Yeah, there's no competition at this table, is there?
Let's not talk about me. Clarke's about us. Clarke's come to get interviewed. Clarke is the... sorry, yeah.
Enough about me. What do you think about me? Come on.
You're putting the pressure now.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to come on. It is.
So, none of us have played with you, but you get, like I say, we get to know people playing against each other. What's it? You know them through warming up and. So it said, wasn't it?
He says, you know him? I says, yeah, obviously played against him and we've warmed up a few times.
So I pretended to stretch a few times.
Is there a bit of sideline chat amongst the subs?
Oh, of course there is, aye.
You adopt the same bit of a gesture of a groin stretch and just look like you're doing something.
No one ever wants to be a sub, ever. So you stroll out there and you've got half a dozen guys who are all pissed off. And if something's going wrong on the pitch, you're kind of like, look, we said that was going to happen. And then you see them run back to the bench, all like that, po face. Oh yeah, devastated gaffer.
He's just full of negativity, innit?
He's always in our team of shit. I'm not playing in this team, I'll fucking never know.
The bitter bus, it starts on the subs bench. It does, I'm telling you.
But yeah, obviously we've played against each other loads of times.
Loads of times. I can't remember who I've played with or against half the time.
Right, thanks for coming on, mate, anyway. We'll just go straight to the question.
Well, I'll never forget you, Big John, because I couldn't fucking see round you. Everyone's like, squeeze! Mate, I can't! I can't! Someone get his hand!
I think I played against you and Danny Shittu.
Oh, Big Dan!
At
My
Burnley.
goodness, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, not Burnley. Big Dan was at Watford and at QPR. We were together.
Might have been QPR.
Yeah.
Did you play with BK at Burnley?
Andre Bikey.
Yeah.
It's like
Bikey.
Thierry Henry. No, it's Terry Henry. Terry Henry. Andrew Bikey. Andre BK.
They were like a fucking WWF wrestling match, I'll tell you.
I tell you what, he's another absolute unit. It seems that they always picked a strong person to play alongside me because I had a pigeon chest. Just getting bullied by the likes of you two.
Official Britain's Brainiest Footballer.
It's not official, is it? It was a TV programme where 12 guys participated, and one of them was Alan Brazil. So
I don't even think I'd have finished 12th.
It was just a bit of fun. It was a bit of fun, and I'm not going to lie, I've had a lifelong crush on Carol Vorderman.
Oh.
You know, I've been a mad keen fan of Countdown since I was a kid, and it was a flyer that came around the dressing room when we were at QPR saying, do you want to, it's a TV programme, do you want to have an audition, like, do you want to see if you want to go on? And I was injured at the time. I was out for 2 years with this right knee, so it was about 1 year into rehab when life was just boring. It was dull. It was horrible. Long-term injury is disgusting. So just a bit of something to, different, brighten up my day. And they said Carol Vorderman's hosting. I was like, hey,
Sign me up.
Sign us up,
Sign me up.
I'm in.
I'll put a bit of aftershave on.
A bit of brute, and then I ended up winning it. But it was just good. It's a good day out. It was a good crack.
Countdown as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now
so you've got form.
that I'm a bit more serious about. I loved Countdown. I loved it since I was a wee nipper, and I won 2 shows. And on the 3rd show, I got beat on a crucial conundrum, and it haunts me to this day. forget playoff finals, forget getting relegated 3 times. It haunts me to this day because, right, it's not the conundrum. The conundrum was steamiest. The guy got it in about 3 seconds. Yeah, well done. But in the first round, he declared a 5. And that was terrible. And I had like 3 6s, a couple of 7s, and trying to be Billy Big Balls, I said, 8. And I said carrions, but carrion is a mass noun. You can't pluralise it. No points for me. If I'd have said...
Right, just let me
go back,
go on,
John.
mate, go on.
If I'd have said 6, casino, that would have been an 11-point swing, and the conundrum would have been irrelevant.
It would have
And
been
that's
a
it.
totally different story.
He went on to win 8. he became an octo champ, and here's me now.
Just for myself and the rest of the lads around this table, plurals and all that, basically, Clarke fucked up. We're not putting into the main in and out of the...
Plural.
What, you didn't know what plurals
Plurals and all that.
I'm on about the...
Get out.
Them bastard asses, eh?
I'm sorry, I'm probably being a bit harsh on the listeners there, and I'm judging them by my standards, but...
Yeah, but I love that. Got a teapot at home. It's one of my proudest achievements.
Yeah?
Countdown teapot. Yeah.
Is it not usable? Surely it's
Practically, it's inept.
Yeah.
It's rubbish. It dribbles all down the spout.
so you've attempted use.
Of course I have.
You've got to be pride of place.
Yeah, and then I used it as dowry to try and woo my wife. I was like, ooh, I've got a teapot for you.
Would you go for a pot of tea, man?
She moved in 3 weeks later.
Former chairman of the PFA.
Yes. Next.
You can see me and Johnny just going, oh, shite. How did you get into that? Were you involved with the PFA to start with, or?
No. When I was at Watford, I got involved. I went to a church locally in Watford, and they were doing work on a local estate, the Meriden estate, with a little 5-a-side football team. Lads from an estate like where I grew up. So I wanted to get involved in that, and the PFA found out because Watford Community Trust picked up on it, and they started to send coaches over, and then the PFA said, well, if you like doing that, why don't you come and do some stuff with us? And then it just snowballed from there, really. Then I went, became delegate, went on the Mancom, got elected chair, and then retired. Saw a fair few bits come and go in that time, but it's
Enjoy it.
It's quite eye-opening being on the other side of the fence, I'll tell you that much. I don't know how much you two will know about the union. It does so much more than we ever give it credit for.
I don't know the extent of what goes off with it. The only thing I think about is, right, you get 25 grand if you retire through injury. They'll put you through education. That's about it, innit?
We used to get them packs, the Adidas packs. Did you ever get them? when you were young?
The boots and stuff.
You get free boots. I said the one thing that used to like, I couldn't get my head around was we used to pay maybe 75 quid, was it, a year?
Not even that when it went up to 150 in our last couple of years.
Yeah, so I paid £150 and David Beckham were paying £150, which was a bit mind-boggling to me. Same as somebody in League 2 were paying £150. Surely you thought, well, they'll pay 75, they'll pay 225. You know what I mean?
If the funds will pick up the rest.
If the funds of the union was dependent on the subs, that would make sense, but it wasn't. The money that the PFA got was from the TV money.
Right.
So everything that the lads paid was effectively a token gesture, just so that they felt that they were engaged with the union. And
I could have engaged with him for £150 a year less.
You got to make it the same across the board.
Yeah, fair enough. But
Well, that's about as interesting as it got, to be honest.
I thought you had something to say then.
No,
He was nodding. That means move on.
it was a shit question to start with anyway.
I'll tell you what though, mate. We put questions out on Twitter,
Oh, yes.
on Facebook, all of us, and I've never had just so many thank yous. That just people saying thank you. Just can you just tell him thanks?
Really?
Because of the work that you've done, and what you've been through, and being able to project it. And people saying that it's given them the courage to come out and say and talk about themselves.
Oh, that's awesome, mate. Thank you very much. It's lovely to hear that, because wife and I, we go around and we talk openly and honestly about our journey. My depression started, I talked about the injury that I had in 2000. It started then. I tried to kill myself then in 2001. And but because we didn't know anything about it, we just pretended it never happened. And it's from then that emotionally, I've been going up and down, up and down, up and down, and football was masking it. So being able to share that story, and for other people to feel that it gives them permission to speak out, it's awesome, because they're getting the help that they need at the time, and I feel that I haven't gone through all that shite for nothing. It doesn't feel like it was me destroying lives. But it's nice to hear that, because you usually go somewhere and you share your story and you leave.
Yep.
You don't know what happens from then on in. So to hear the fact that other people, it's inspired them in some way, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I mean, there was one that it just literally said, "Thank you." That's it.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe
it.
even a love heart in there as well.
What's
Oh,
that?
really? With an emoji.
So do you think it all started from that 2-year injury?
Cool. We could get really deep and meaningful here, because it's only through my therapy now, intense counselling, that I understand that I couldn't understand my emotions as a kid, because I was brought up at a time when, what are you crying about? What do you mean you're angry? What do you mean you did this at school? It's just, we didn't express emotions. If you were a man, you were strong, you dealt with everything, you didn't cry, you weren't nervous, blah, blah, blah. So I bottled and hid all of those emotions. And then you go into football, where it's compounded even further.
Magnified.
Because they, not only are those, the sadness and the fear, like, put to one side, but also that there's no anxiety. You don't take any failure. Everything is solely focused on success, and everything else is blah. So it just made that even worse for me. And then you're in an environment where you're with 40 guys, and you're my teammate, but don't beat around the bush. You're my first opponent as well. There's only 11 of us can start, and I want to kick you in the air in training, make sure I start before you. If I'm on the bench and you get injured, sorry for you, but I'm buzzing, mate.
Yeah.
Because that's my chance to get in the side. So it was all compounded in that, and you don't tell anyone in that environment.
Not even your wife.
Well, no, this is just it. Going through that period, I didn't tell anyone. I just bottled it all up. And instead of what's the word? Expressing it or that's not the word. It's, when you sit with something, processing it.
Right.
How do you process it? Well, I process mine by running away from it. So if I felt sad or angry or scared, or if I felt like my career was in jeopardy, then I had to do whatever I could to get away from that feeling. And usually it was drink. Or if it weren't drink, I would go gambling. And I weren't gambling to win. I was gambling to lose myself in those 2 hours in a casino. That's it. Just totally get away from it. And casinos, especially for me, because there's almost like it's a bit different now. They're more like hospitality.
It's a bit night out now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, but back then it was a bit more secretive. And people left you to your own devices. No one would disturb me. I'd be in there for however many hours. If any of the bosses got wind you played football, there'd be drinks coming over, and they'd treat you like royalty. And I just used to love getting lost in there. But not just that. Computer games. I play Chat Manager for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. And it wasn't to play the game, it was to get away from what I was thinking in real life,
something
or I'd sleep. So, that's how it started to manifest in my life. But because we didn't know that there was an underlying issue, we just thought I was a dick. That's the truth.
He's done it again.
Yeah,
he's done it again.
That's exactly it. Here he goes, sabotage, self-destruct, explode. What's he doing this for? And
what were you like before that injury when you were at Blackpool? Did you know that something wasn't right with you, or was it just the injury that brought it all on when you thought?
It was the injury that brought it to a head. But if I look before then, I displayed behaviours that showed that was the way I was going to cope with things. And by that I mean addictive personality. Oh my good lord, I think you almost need it to get into football, like addictive, almost obsessive compulsive about being the best, ritualistic, day in day out doing this. I showed all those traits from an early age. And not only that, people pleasing. I was desperate for everyone else to like me. If you didn't like me, I had to do everything within my power to make you like me. And that was compounded again by the selection process when I got into first team football. Everything was to make the gaffer want to pick me. And all of that meant that I could never be content with me. I was always desperate for you to make me feel good, for you to say I was good enough, And if there was ever any doubt around it, I'd fucking capitulate. I was absolutely done for. I didn't have an anchor in me to say, do you know what, Clarke, you're good enough, mate. And you don't need him to tell you. So when you talk about did I show it beforehand at Blackpool, my goodness, Jonathan, I can't remember his surname, Jonathan someone who wrote for the Gazette in Blackpool, he don't know how much power he had over me on a Monday morning
with his scores.
Mate, his scores for me on a Monday absolutely controlled my week. They either destroyed me or they built me up to make me think I was good.
We had exactly the same thing from Baz Rathbone, didn't we?
Really?
He said he used to drive down at 5 a.m. to when he used to come off the train.
Nationals, wasn't it?
He used to come off the train then, so he could be the first one to have a look and see what he got. And
it's incredible, isn't it? Now, some people can dismiss him. They're like, oh, whatever. But what was always going through my mind, especially when you get higher up the leagues and you say, like, it's the goals on Monday or goals on Sunday in the Sun, Sunday goals. Like, I know I've played well. I know I've done my job. I'm like, I'm not Brownie out the game there. He didn't get a sniff. We got beat 2-0 maybe, but I've done my job. I know it. I did it really well. I look in the paper and I get a 5. And I'm like, fuck. 2.5 million people are going to think I had a crap game. It's not that guy gave me a 5. It's that there are 2.5 million people who didn't go to that game, didn't see me play well, and they're going to think I was shit on Saturday, and I wasn't. And that
even though you knew yourself, even though you're happy within yourself. Well, stay happy within yourself. But even though
I knew I'd done my job, it was that external ratification that absolutely drove me insane. It was going round in my mind, and I'm an overthinker, mate. I'm a ruminator.
So if you got an 8, in the paper, would that set you up for the week?
I'd have a bounce, mate. I'd have a bit of swagger going in on a Monday.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And do you know what would be the weird one is if I got an 8 and I know I'd had a stinker. I'm like, I got away with that one. What a right result. The thing is, my mum thinks I played well.
The thing is, right, do you know if I'd have been in Clarke's dressing room, not knowing how he was feeling, and he got an 8 in the paper, even on the Monday morning, I'd have come in and said, who the fucking hell's wrote that before? It's not knowing that would have affected. You got a fucking 7? Who the fucking hell's wrote this? You know what I mean? 7, you were shit. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'd have been like Monday morning. Obviously, not knowing that how I would have been affected.
Yeah,
so I've probably done it. I've probably affected people's weeks over the years.
Where do you stand on that? The changing room crack. What he's just said. Because there is people that'll take it to heart. They won't show it.
Yeah.
But they'll go home and Stuart will go. and they'll come in. Like you say, it'll affect the week. It'll come in and it'll be.
It'll massively affect the week. People, you're 100% right, mate. There are teammates that I've been with over the year who do not know how much they've psychologically destroyed me on a daily basis. And I'll go home and I'll run it through my mind. I'll run through scenarios when, I could have said this and I could have said that. And then I'd have poked him in his right eye. You know, and that'll be with me for the rest of the day until there's something that can. But the thing of the matter is you can't know unless that someone communicates it with you. And I kind of learnt my lesson from Burnley. So from Burnley, I was chair of the PFA, and I started to change my thinking. I started changing my thinking because we were doing stuff with Kick It Out and stuff like that. And I was thinking, do you know what? I'm feeding into this. I'm the guy who's joining in with all that, he's a raving iron and all that, this is fantastic banter. And it's not really, you know, especially not if that guy is, like you said, what if he is going through something and I've just hit it right on the head in a joke. So after Burnley, I went in, I say, look, this is my core banter. I'm going to batter your mum and I'm going to batter your missus. and if you don't like it, tell me, and I won't. You know, but this is going to be stop banter, like, it's soaking out there, just like your missus. And, you know, but if you don't want that, then tell me now, because I won't do it. You know, and
doing a squat. Oh, fuck it, there she is. There she is, Mrs. Brown. There she is.
Not your Mrs. Brown, Mrs. Michael Brown.
So, I used to do it in the game. I used to batter the lads, teammates in the game. Well, the game was going on. Even if they're playing well, you fucking better liven up, you. Fuck off. You know what I mean?
But it's hard to know because some people need that. Some people need a rocket at the backside and they'll show you. Chris Eagles was one of them, you know. You got him angry, he'd have the best game of his life. But if he went in swanning, he would swan around, you know, and he wouldn't do the other stuff. But, conversely, if someone else overstepped the mark with something that I feel that I've got to say no, all I would say is, oi, kick it out, and then we'd all start laughing. Yeah. But that's me putting my boundary down, you know, like that. I'm not accepting that. Yeah. You know, and then gradually everyone came round to it. And then they were pitting back and forth, and everyone's mum was game.
Yes. I used to have it with Lonner's mum. I'll tell you what, your mum is fucking beautiful. He used to go off his tits.
Fuck, you used to do it with mine.
Honestly, I used to be on Lonner's all the time. I used to have him cowering in the corner in the showers.
But you see, that's like that's like a trophy, innit? You're like, I used to batter him, totally grind him down. It's awesome, isn't it? Mate, you absolutely ground him down. The kid's an absolute bag of jackies.
Yeah. And it probably was. But the thing from his point of view, though, you do it when you like somebody. That's the strange thing.
But it doesn't necessarily relay like that, does it, afterwards?
No. But it's like Lonners, come on, let's have a feel of your knob, Lonners. No, come on, let's have a feel of your knob. And so as he'd put his shampoo in, and obviously his eyes are closed, I'd just go up and start chugging it. I'd have him cowering in the corner like that. Parky, fucking leave off there.
Mate, it was only when...
Daily, this.
It was only at Burnley I started to get into... I did. I really got into it, actually. I'll give that here.
I really got into it.
Oh, mate, can I have a bit of that?
Like a milkmaid.
Get up there. It was...
the first thing I'd ask... me and you were getting... New player in. Right, don't you get in shower without me today. I want to see exactly what you've got.
But is that acceptable?
Probably
is that right?
not. No.
Probably not. No. Now, no, it's not, mate.
No.
But we grew up in an era where it was break you or make you. Yeah. You know, and that banter, it was aggressive, mate. It was aggressive. It was confrontational, and you had to broaden your shoulders to get through it, because you were going to get worse on the pitch. Yeah. You were going to get worse from the stands. And Mike Davis at Blackpool, he was the one just saying what you said then, Brownie. He said, look, you should start worrying when we stop shouting at you. When we stop shouting at you, it means that's it. We're done with you. We're done with you. Yeah. He said, but as long as we're shouting at you, you take the information. We're trying to build you up. And it's only him telling me that at 18 years of age, when I was nearly crying after one Resi game, that I kind of changed my approach with it. Tried to take the information from the shouting as opposed to the shouting itself.
Yeah.
There's not much information you can take from somebody wanting to shag your mum, though, is there?
Well, there is. It's like, I think my mum needs to be tagged, so I know where she is. I'm gonna put her up on Where's My iPhone.
Did you ever later on see, like, maybe a younger lad or somebody else getting that abuse, and you seeing it from the perspective where maybe you've crumbled in the past or felt it heavy, and you've maybe taken somebody aside and said, listen, easy on him.
Yeah, leave off him.
There are at Burnley. There are 3 young lads who I really took a shine to in a very appropriate way.
Yes.
Jay Rodriguez, Alex MacDonald and Adam Kay. And the 3 of them, sometimes you see a bit of yourself in what someone else is going through.
Yeah.
Well, in Adam and Alex, I saw a bit of myself in them. Like, Adam worked hard with moderate ability, and he wanted it. He was going to graft. Alex MacDonald had some ability, but also was getting sidetracked by the bright lights of Burnley. They're not that bright, but they were bright enough for it.
There's a few dark alleys. I don't know about bright lights.
Somebody needs to get him a passport and show him the world.
Lava and Ignite in Burnley, I'm telling you. There's a luminescent glow. And Jay Rodriguez was just a polite, lovely, respectful lad. He's a lovely man now. And for different reasons, each of them, I just wanted to kind of share a bit of experience. So with Jay, I was like, Jay, you've got all the ability in the world, all the talent in the world. You will go far. You need to stop being this nice on the pitch. You've got to change that. You've got to use your physicality. You've got to get nasty on there. And when you come off here, be all polite and respectful. Yeah. I used to get the piss taken out of me at Blackpool for being intellectual and erudite. They slapped it out of me.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you try and change?
Yes, I did, and I have. And I had to. I think that era, the 90s, you either confront or you conform. And if you confronted then in a League 2 club as a young black kid, you're out on your ear, mate. So I went there and I had the beginnings of dreads. My head was all like a pineapple, like Jason Lee.
Yeah.
And the youth team manager said, fucking get rid of them for starters. Like, next day, boom, gone.
You get labelled a big time little bastard.
Yeah.
Who's this chirpy little twat here? 17-year-old.
But those were the days when you listened, weren't they? I listened to it because in that time everything was about work and reward, and you were on £27.50 a week, and you were desperate to get into the A team to get your £4 appearance, and then you were desperate to get into the reserve team to get your £15 appearance and your £10 win bonus, and then to make that step into the first team, each one saw you shift through a dressing room at the training ground, and there was a status. There was a feeling of earning that progression, but I don't think that happens nowadays. I think you get young lads who are on 30, 40, 50 grand a week, and they've not played a minute's first team football. There is no resi football. There's no sense of work and reward to progress through the system. But that being said, they get treated nicer. And they're coming through an academy where they're being brought up, hopefully, like whole human beings, and they understand the other side. But it's hard to understand the other side of an 18-year-old's life when you've got 50 grand a week in the bank.
Yeah, that's the thing.
You're not living like an 18.
I don't think they'd be bothered either. If you look in the paper and you're getting a 5, whether you take it deep or not, you still think you take it. You think about it a little bit. These will be looking, going, I'm not that bothered. I'm getting this amount of much money.
Exactly.
I think so anyway. I don't think it means as much if you're getting 40 grand a week.
I wouldn't have tried as hard.
Yeah.
If I was on that.
Oh man, I'd have done 3 years, job done. See you later.
True though.
I had a bottle of bar in Magaluf, job done. 22-year-old Bart, I'd have been like fucking whaling Nicker in Magaluf. I still like him now with my fucking grey eyes. Not quite the physique.
that Lineker's? And was it next to the Soul Train? Do you remember Lineker's and the Soul Train? Where was that?
Tenerife.
Oh, my goodness.
Up just halfway up the hill
Yeah,
on the
Tenerife
corner.
97.
Rock on.
Oh my
If you'd have gone in 2004, we could have come in my bar, Parkins.
Oh wow.
How were it coming through then at Blackpool? A young lad?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was tough. Standard tough because.
Did you get picked up in just playing local football?
Yes,
Were you
I only started Sunday League when I was 11 because we used to go to a Mormon church when I was a kid, and you can't do anything on a Sunday. I mean, literally nothing. Nothing that's labelled as work. So we stopped going there when I was 11. I was buzzing, and we could play Sunday League football. So that's when I started to play Sunday League. And I went to AFC Ribble in Leyland, and the manager was Tony Knight, and he said, "Look, I've got a good team here." He said, "Your lad's gonna have to be decent, to get a game." He said, "I'll give him a start today. We'll have a look at him for first half." It's 11-0 and I scored 5.
Have you always been a centre half? Or were you
no, mate, no. Centre fireworks. Everyone started fireworks. Right, I used to bag for fun as a kid because I was pretty quick at 11, 12, but only small. I only grew massively when 16, 17. I was still a centre midfielder when I went to Blackpool in 96. And they made me a centre half because I grew over that summer of 1997-8. Oh, the knee pains. Oh my goodness.
Osgood.
See, we're opposite.
Slatters. I got that at 15, a growth spurt I had then, and the knee pains in the summer of 97 were just disgusting. But then I came back and they're like, oh, maybe you can be a centre half. Made me a centre half. Yeah.
And you never tried playing anywhere else after that?
No, not after that. I was playing with David Dunn in central midfield at Blackburn under 12s, 13s, 14s, and then they signed him instead of me. How did that turn out for him? Shit deal, that.
Was he still the shy retiring type when he was
Oh yeah. I wouldn't say boo to a goose. He's a good lad, doesn't he? He is. He's a very good lad.
Who was manager when you came through at Blackpool?
I saw a few off, to be fair.
Oh, yes.
Big Sam Allardyce signed me at 16.
I didn't even know he was there.
Yeah.
Do you know what? He only left because Blackpool were in the playoffs. They hadn't conceded 2 goals at home all season. So they went away to Bradford, beat Bradford 2-0, Valley Parade. And then in the home leg, had all the Wembley travel in the programme. Like, book your tickets to Wembley and all this. Got beat 3-0 at home in the second leg.
What, he got sacked?
I don't know whether he got sacked or just walked out. But that was his last game. And I went that summer. Who was the first gaffer?
Nigel Worthington?
No, Gary Megson.
Really?
Oh,
Yes,
Gary.
Gary
He keeps
Megson.
popping up.
He does.
Keeps popping up, Gary, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He does. What was he like?
Old school. Everything was about running. He was a gaffer, and if you hadn't played 50 first team games, don't even bother speaking to me. You'd be just totally unapproachable. But then my views warped because he caught me smoking. I caught me smoking around the back of the stand at Blackpool and made me run round the training pitch for a week. And so I had to turn up at 9 o'clock in the morning. I was 16. Turn up at 9 o'clock in the morning and start running. And then I was allowed to come in at lunch at 12:30 and have a sandwich. And then I had to get on the rower at 1 and start rowing. And then I was done when all the lads had done their jobs at 4.
Might have been up bike later.
No, that was it. Running all morning, rowing all afternoon for a week.
I
I was gasping after that. I went up to 15 a day.
It's the fittest I've ever been. Got me smoking.
Gary Megson and Mike Phelan. Mike Phelan was with him.
Man United, Mike Phelan.
Yeah. And then Nigel Worthington with Mick Hennigan. You'll know Mick Hennigan, surely.
Rings a bell. Can't remember.
Proper. I'm not sure if it's Barnsley or Doncaster, but proper. Hey, thou not D, lad, thou not D.
Sounds Barnsley.
Right, he was awesome. I used to love him. You need to treat that football like it's your lass. Love her, caress her. Oh, cheers, Mick. Whenever we had try lists, he would never call them by their names. Never. I'm not sure if it was just because he was old or out of disrespect. And he'd be like, "Oi, Aston Vanilla, get over here." Just some young kid from Villa. Like, oh, ruthless. Aston Vanilla. So Nigel Worthington, one of the funniest things. You just get into the first team squad, and everyone it's intimidating, isn't it? You know, big characters in there. In my first team squad, first team squad, you got Andy Priest and Tony Ellis up top, Lee Philpott, James Quinn, Mickey Mellon, and Mark Bonner in the middle of the park. Who was at the back? Tony Butler. No, big Tony Butler, Jason Lydiate, Marvin
you said
Bryan.
you were rubbish before we started.
I'm just
From 1997.
I'm reading this off Wikipedia. Andy Barlow, Steve Banks in goal.
Oh, Andy Barlow.
Oh,
Coaching Andy Barlow.
yes, yeah. So all these guys, blah 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 blah, and you get into the dressing room, and you got Tony Ellis and Andy Priest, the big guys, doing all this, and then there's like a changing of the guard. So when there's a changing of the guard, and Gary Brabbin signed for us. Do you remember Gary Brabbin?
I remember his name.
Absolute unit. I think he's on the coaching staff at Everton now, but he used to bench press the full stack on the machine with 2 YTs stood on each arm. just like rack them off.
The world's strongest man.
He was a bouncer around Liverpool like on a Sunday night, and then come and play, train and play in the week. He's just ridiculous. But one time, Brabs was squaring up to Nigel Worthington in the dressing room. I don't know, he'd give a pass away or something. He was like, yeah. And Nigel went, "You wouldn't hit me." Brabs cocked his arm back. Mick Hennigan dived in like, "No!" Took one right on the forehead. Boom! Oh, he's not Mick Hennigan into the drinks table. It's gone over, and everyone's like, "Whoa, Brabs, stop. It takes 6 of us to take him off. Mick's like, "Oh, I've took this one." We look round, and Nidge is under the table. He's cowering under the table. We're like, oh my goodness. He was from that day, the lads lost all respect for him. It was like Wexit. We wanted Nidge to go, and everyone wanted Mick to be the guy. Mick was a hero.
Wexit.
Dived in like Tom Cruise.
Worthington, you shit bag.
Oh, it's brilliant.
I'm not getting in the way of that. I'm not getting in the way of that really ought to anyway. No chance. You can take him out into Uta.
He wore it like a badge of honour. This little bullet hole in the centre of his forehead. Brilliant.
You would have hit me.
We're at a proper step up then, going to QPR. Ian Dewi scouted you.
It was Jerry Francis, the raccoon. Yeah, Jerry. He took me down there, and it was a big step up because obviously it was 2 leagues because we got relegated and then was going to Championship. And he had the likes of Steve Morrow, Carl Reddy. You remember Lossie? Remember Carl Reddy? Welsh lad, Welsh international centre half.
I remember.
Big ball head. This is before your time, probably, John.
Trevor Sinclair?
No, I just missed Trev. I just missed Trev at every step. So when I went to Blackpool, he'd just gone. And when I went to QPR, he'd just gone. Did he go to City or West Ham from QPR? Was it Man City?
Yeah, I think
West Ham.
West Ham
first, City. Was it? But anyhow, I got down there and it's like, you're going to have to wait for your chance. And I just took that ethos from back in the day. You know, I absolutely battered the pre-season, ran faster than everyone. And I was in team at start. And do you know what? It wasn't that big a step up. Because what I found was lower league football, especially at that time, was brutal. It was brutal. You know, you had probably 2 Big Johns up top,
Yeah.
you know, and they were counting on wingers coming.
in behind.
Drop off a yard.
It was just, you know, smash it up there and battle with the Goliath. Whereas you got to that level and teams wanted to play a little bit, you know, and Jerry played with 3 centre halves, so I was getting encouraged to get down the outside. I remember overlapping our wing back, putting crosses in. It was fucking awesome. It was awesome. It was the first time I started to feel like a footballer instead of a defender, you know, because I was getting encouraged to go down there, and I started to use my left foot and stuff. It was unheard of. But the step up from there to the Premier League it's a chasm. It was massive.
Yeah.
You get so much time in the Premier League, and then you blink and you're a goal down. You know, people pass the ball around, they keep it, and you're on your shape and you're feeling nice and cosy, and then all of a sudden it's just like zip, zip, zip. What just happened?
Yeah.
You know, it was totally different. I did not have the capability to survive in that league. Just the spatial awareness, the understanding of the movement of these guys. No, my motto was, if it moves, kick it, and if it doesn't, kick it till it does. And I stole a 17-year career off that. Well, no, I could head it as well. I've got this bone in the middle of my head, and it just means I can head anything.
So how are you moving? How are you moving to London then? The London scene and all that. What?
I loved it.
Yeah,
I loved it. Yeah, I was 20 years of age. Coming from Blackpool, which is quite a decent nightlife as it is, even though it's seasonal. You know, going to
London. You were so seedy then.
Seasonal. You know, going down to London was incredible. It's just 24/7, isn't it? You know, you could do what you wanted when you wanted. And when I was going from 500 quid a week to £2,500 a week at 20 in 2000, that was huge for me.
Yeah.
You know, from a council estate in Preston. You know, I was Billy Big Bananas. And the thing is sometimes I regret it and sometimes I don't. I lived as such. You know, I'm very used to being without, so being without again wouldn't have bothered me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So rather than stockpiling it, which I'm sure my children now wish I had.
It's not about them.
Exactly.
It's not about them. I'm living a fucking life. I'm living a life in London. Fuck you.
Rather than stockpiling it, and even I wasn't like lavish with it. It wasn't like I had loads of cars or a massive house or anything. It's a 2-bed house in Preston, in Acton. I just used to love spending it on everyone. Just sharing it. I think a lot of it fed into that I want you to like and love me, you know, the people pleasing. But yeah, I've got to say, standing back, I had a wonderful time in London, mate. It was awesome. I encourage my kids now. I'm like, you've got to do it just for a period of time at least. You know, go and live in a major city and experience the diversity of big city life, the way that it's always on, and the culture in it. That's where I got introduced to opera. You know, not Oprah.
Would you up and live in the 3-bed one next to it?
Yeah, I got introduced to opera and classical music and stuff.
Hold on a minute. Who at QPR's introducing you to opera, or is this?
No, it was my circle of friends outside of that. Right. Actually, I don't know how you guys were with lads in football, but I had very single-serving friendships. Because I moved a lot of clubs. I think I had 13, 14 clubs in my career. You kind of make friends, and then all of a sudden you move and they're the enemy, and now you've got new friends.
Yeah.
And you've got a new community, you know, new next door neighbours, and you're like, hi, yeah, I'm not going to get to know you because next year, you know, oh, boom, I'm off, dun, and it's all very single serving.
You keep it all separate.
Yeah. So I go, and the only lad I got to know well at QPR was Richard Langley, because we both did our cruise ships in the same game. And we were both out. I was out for 2 years, he was out for just over 1 year. But the difference being, I was 2 years and done. He's broke down like 3 times in the future, and then caused him to retire. So that's the only genuine friendship I made at QPR.
Yeah.
But after that, everything's like kind of superficial.
Yeah,
you know,
ships in the night. Aren't
yeah,
they?
it is because
I've been trying to get rid of one for fucking years. I just
keep turning up.
well,
just can't get rid of him.
I thought this was an audition for hosting.
Come to the end of the road, go.
Nice knowing you.
I'm very sorry, mate.
Did you just not bother them with the social events?
There weren't many.
No?
There weren't many. No, there's always an age divide. You know, the senior lads do what they're doing, younger lads do what they're doing. And then, especially when you've got a club that's in London, people live all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's not as though... Watford, I think, is as close to London as you'll get, and people live quite near because it's usually St Albans, Berkhamsted, you know, all around there. But when you've got a club that's in central London, no one lives in central London. You know, everyone lives all around and about. And because I did live in Acton, which was, you know, it's like centre west, there was no one there. So I had to make my own friends around about. So I got a girlfriend there, and I got introduced to her friends, and that's where my social circle came from. So
Was that dangerous though? Because they could obviously do what they wanted. And
100% dangerous. After that,
You
I
tagged
got
along, like.
became friends with an actor, a former a radio producer, and a band manager. We all lived together in one house of debauchery.
Oh dear.
And as you can imagine,
I like the sound of this.
between that group of people, we could go pretty much anywhere at any time, or had invites to anything at any time, and they could do that. You know, they could do the Monday through Sunday if they wanted to. And me, with the huge FOMO that I had, I wanted to do it as well, and it crept into my daily life. I always had the night before a match as like the Sabbath. You know, I'd never drink the night before a match, but even I crossed that boundary at QPR, and that was because of my inability to say no to the people around me who didn't have the responsibilities that I had, you know, on the next day.
Was it a case of as well that you didn't want to upset, you didn't want to let them down by not going out?
That's exactly it. You know, I wanted to make sure. I thought that if I said no or didn't get engaged with them, they might not like me, might not want to hang around me anymore. Exactly. Even though we lived together, you know, I'm like, oh,
They're sneaking downstairs, and
I'll tell you something else that always happens as well, and it probably happens in every other workplace, but more so in a football club. Is kind of, you get a label. You get a label as the joker, the drinker, the shagger, you know, and whoever you are, you kind of...
You've just hit that. Let's do nail on the head. And I can guarantee you, I'm not the shagger. I can guarantee you that for nothing. I'll have just sit and talk to the fat one when we...
Set one for the team. You can't say that anymore. Big girls need love too.
Yeah, they do. If you've got any larger ladies who listen, I'm sorry. I'm not looking too fucking great myself.
They were saying exactly the same fucking thing.
You're trying to tell me I've got to sit and talk to the fat grey one?
You left me with a fat Philip Schofield.
I'm that the only women play the 2 out of 10 game. Out of the 2. But I'm comfortable with it. As long as I was sat near a bar, I was fine.
I'm anchored within.
Friends with benefits.
I'm totally fine with a bit of 2. I don't mind that at all. That's made him fucking chuckle.
I'm crying here.
Yes, right, mate.
So you were out? Were you out every night?
At one stage, yeah.
While you were injured, or is this while you were playing? It's easy when you're injured.
It started when I was injured.
Yeah.
And then actually, you know how you have this. There is a level of dedication that's necessary in the game. Even if you are loose with it and you get away with stuff, there is. You know that there's a line that you can't cross, and I was facing retirement and walking with a stick. You know, so I went.
What age is this? Sorry.
This was 21. So I went nuts for a period of time. I was just on it, Dialer Crate in London company, just deliver beer to your house.
Any time at night?
Any time of the day, 24/7. Clarke Carlisle, 2 bottles of Chablis, 40 Marlboro Lights. Thank you very much.
Were you just on your own? Would you sit in your room and do it on your own?
Two bed flat in Acton, just get absolutely battered, mate. And
until you passed out, or did you just think? Did you get to the point where you thought, I've had enough now?
No, there was never I've had enough. There were plenty of times that I passed out. It was the first time that I went into a Buc-ee's. Do you remember when Buc-ee's used to be seedy, smoky places?
Your shopping used to be like stars in their eyes.
Yeah. Tonight, Matthew.
I'm going to be skint.
I'm going to be on my ass.
Yeah, so that's when it started. But then there came a point where the physio was like, right, we're not sure if this is gonna repair. So you got 6 months, and if it doesn't, then I think that's the end of your career. So I gave it for that all 6 months. I stopped smoking for that all 6 months. I know it's a big thing for me.
Do you know when you said you were in your room just getting twatted on your own?
Yeah.
So did you think you had a problem then with drink, or if you could just say, right, I'm just going to stop? Or did it just become a habit, as in, that's just what my day were like? I'm not dependent on it, but that's just what my day were.
Looking back now, I can see that's where the problem was. Because I was drinking because I was miserable and I was scared and I was afraid. Sat there at that time, I thought, I've got bugger all else to do.
Yeah.
I'm on my own, 250 miles from home. I no longer have football. For 2 months, I couldn't leave my flat. I was actually, housebound for 2 months. So it was all I could do. There was bugger all else for me to do.
But for that 6 months, when you got given that news about...
He said it's this, shit.
Did you just knock it on the head?
I knocked everything on the head. Mate, I don't think I've ever trained so hard in all my life. Honestly, doing them frog, like crouch burpee things all the way, pitch lengths and back. We were sharing a training ground with London Wasps at the time, and I remember Josh Lucy and Lawrence Delalio said, mate, that was a session. And when they say that to you, mate, I felt proud.
Yeah.
I thought we used to come in at how it is, 10:15, 10 o'clock, getting ready for 10:30 training. These guys had finished a session, they're going into the cafeteria and they're having salmon, mash, taters, steak. I'm like, Cocoa Pops, please. What are you guys doing? They were absolute animals. So to see the way that they worked, and then they, they commented on my session, I was buzzing, absolutely buzzing. I gave my all, and I got back, to fitness, and it was an awesome day. It fell in tandem with my best school friend, my best mate from school, coming down to London, and we moved in together. So I got fit, he came down, and we said, right, we're going to have 2 weeks of celebration. 2 weeks of celebration.
Come in my room. We're not moving out of my room. We're staying here.
No, we moved in together. We got a bachelor pad on number 2 Beaver Grove.
Oh.
We didn't even go and visit it. We saw it in the paper. We went, there it is. That is it.
That's the
2 Beaver Grove. We're moving in. We went and moved in, and we had 2 weeks of celebration. We're going to go out every day for 2 weeks. This was still in pre-season. So I was like, right, I'm with you, and I can do it because I know I'm going to be running my nuts off the next day. Bang, bang, bang. And then 2 weeks became 3, became 4, became 5. We get into the season, and I start to bring back the day before a game as kind of, holy. But it didn't take too long for that to go again. And it was probably about 5 or 6 weeks into the season. I think my memory's vague. Around specific dates and times, around specific years in my life. We lost a playoff final at QPR.
Yeah.
We lost a playoff final at Millennium Stadium. Cardiff. We got beat 1-0 by Cardiff in extra time. From that game, I can't remember the rest of that summer. The entirety of that summer, I can't tell you where I went. I can't tell you who I was with. I could not identify a single day. And that was all through me drinking to get away from feeling like a failure.
For getting beat in the
getting beat in the playoff final, mate.
But would you have, on the flip side of that, if you'd have won the playoff final, would it have just been exactly the same as you celebrated for the
It's
summer?
highly possible. It's highly possible. Yeah, I don't think I'd have looking back now, knowing what I do about myself, I wouldn't have drank to the same intensity. You know, I drank because I was shit scared of emotions. I was shit scared of feeling like less than. And that all harps back to when I tried to kill myself, when I just got injured. Everything tied in with that. So whenever I felt anything that felt remotely like that, like panic, you know, got to run away, get me away from this, and that's what I did. So you can imagine losing a game of that magnitude. And to put it in context, the following summer we got promoted automatically, and I didn't touch a drop, and I'd only just been out the clinic and sober like 4 months. You know, and I was still able to have that go on the bus from Sheffield. We got promoted at Chef Wednesday, all the way down to London. Have 2 parties, have a parade round White City. With, you know what it's like when you have a promotion, you got bins of beer on the coach and everyone's da. And I was just sat with me Hoy de Monterey cigar with the driver down the front. I'll have a large cognac, please, Michael. No, I won't actually. I'll just have this cigar. You know. So conversely, thinking about it, no, I don't think I would have drank to the same intensity because that was all about masking failure, whereas enjoying success is different.
Yeah. That's mad.
It is,
Full summer, not knowing if you left the country or
a couple of times we did. My friend and I,
Is this the same housemate?
Yeah, we used to go out with our passports just in case. And we just read Luke Reinhardt, The Dice Man. Have you read it?
No.
Oh, it changed my life for 2 weeks, mate.
Was that the look where you go by the dice,
Go by the dice,
see what happens?
Just see.
Yeah.
12 options, bang, off
Roll
you
the
go.
dice, whatever it lands on, that's what you do.
That's what you do. Oh, mate.
so 7 is Vegas.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boom.
3 is Marbella.
Yeah.
Gone. 2 is go and break that window. A double 12 is drink 12 pints back to back within 3 minutes. You're just like, yeah, come on, let's do it. Boom.
Well, number 1, we'll stay in.
Netflix and chill.
Roll again.
That's not a 1, that.
They waited, them guys. They waited. Yeah.
So you did that. That's you played for 2 weeks that game.
I can't remember how long we played it. I know that's how it started, and that whole summer's gone, mate.
What were your pal doing? What were his job? What were his crack?
He'd been medically discharged from the Paris. He had sciatica, so he was waiting all assessment and everything, and he was just going through.
So he'd not got any responsibilities to do
doing it
anywhere
at the time. No, he was just figuring out what he was going to do next.
And he was probably in a bad way himself.
Psychologically, looking back, mate, 100%. 100%.
I seen something about you thank Holloway for helping you out.
Yeah.
Is that right? Did he kick you off the bus or something?
Yeah.
When was that? Was that before your injury or after injury?
That was after my injury. It was after the playoff final defeat. It was the following season, the season we got promoted. When I said, like, there's 2 weeks celebration, no, I lost the whole summer, blah, 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 come back to work and just cracked on. And the day before a game was no longer holy. You know, I was just going and doing whatever I wanted.
You having proper nights out before the game, 2 or 3, 4 o'clock nights? Or?
Not before the game, no. I would be drinking the night before the game. Thursday nights, I'd be having a proper night out till whenever. Thursday night was Kensington Roof Gardens. we had a whole circuit because there was these 2 guys, Glenn and Gary Sewell, owned like a function company called Scintillate, and they used to put on nights, different night at a different place, and we just did that circuit through the week.
So how were you feeling on a Saturday at 3 o'clock?
On a Saturday at 3 o'clock, I was incredibly focused. It's one thing that I've always said is if people turn a blind eye to what you're doing, but you're still accountable for the match day. You can be guaranteed that I am going to do everything within my power to make sure I don't make a mistake on that match day, because I need to make sure that people keep overlooking what I'm doing during the week.
Yeah.
So it kind of feeds into itself.
So the club knows that you're out all the time.
Yeah, people know. I remember Mark Bircham, Steve Palmer, Kevin Gallen. You know, in their own rights, not Palms, but Kevin Birchie. You know, they love a night out, but they always did it right. And they're like, Clarke, you know, what's going on? I'm like, oh, nothing, mate. Don't you worry about me. You know, I'm doing my job on a Saturday. When I came into training, I trained hard because I knew I had to, and it kind of fed into itself because I trained hard, sweated, had a shower, felt $1 million, ready to go again.
Ready to go.
And go
dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah.
So at 3 o'clock on a Saturday, you're focused. Are you feeling physically able to play the game?
I am feeling physically able. I can do it. I'm concentrating because I'm desperate not to make a
You
mistake.
think you concentrated more because you knew you'd...
Out of fear rather than aspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I have to get through this game. I have to get through this game. And so I'll do my level best. Don't get me wrong, I have no doubts that I could have played better and more consistently had I not been on the sauce. No doubts whatsoever.
And to flip that back, if you'd not been on the sauce, you might have been getting a 7, 8 instead of a 5, 6 in the paper, which obviously affected you mentally as well as, you know what I mean? You know, so you were getting a 6 when you could have got a 7, which would have been all right for the full week.
Is that the primary fear aspect, though? That getting the low score?
That's a good question. Not at that point, not at QPR.
Because otherwise you'd be... You kind of... Your escapism, otherwise, is not to achieve your final goal.
Yeah.
You're kind of going out drinking to forget about... But really, if that was your sole focus, to get that better score, you wouldn't be going drinking as your escapism. Your escapism would be focusing on improving yourself.
It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy and perpetuating failure. Yeah, which is a lot of my thought cycles in my life. A key word for me in my life is sabotage. And
self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. And it's almost like I need to have something in the locker as an excuse.
Yeah.
Just in case something goes wrong. You know, so if everything's gone 100% perfectly in the build-up, shit, because then it's only down to me.
I've got no excuse now.
There's no excuse now. So, it feeds into later in my career. Eddie Howe came into Burnley and he said, right, no more English breakfast. And I'm like, mate, you know,
at the training ground or?
No, day before a game. I had a full English day of a game for 12 years, you know, and then he came in and said no. I was like, Eddie, I've been doing this for so long. And then he changed the whole menu. We had turkey rashers instead of bacon and venison sausages, and you weren't allowed baked beans and all this malarkey.
He's not happy.
Fuck off, Eddie.
So what I used to do was go down into the hotel restaurant, have me full English, and then go into the lads' breakfast. And I would tell everyone it's because I need me full English, you know, it's what I've done forever. But in the back of my head, you know what? It's so that I had just a modicum of an excuse.
Yeah.
You know, just in case something goes wrong, I'd be like, oh, well, you know, I should have maybe done it another way, and that's why I didn't play so well.
Yeah.
An excuse to tell other people or an excuse to make yourself feel better?
Tell other people.
I fucked up. I had a full English, so I fucked up. That's the reason I didn't play well.
Yeah.
Could always apportion the blame elsewhere other than on my own shoulders, which is quite ridiculous because I could do what I was afraid of not being able to do, you know, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. And also, I mean, we've skipped over so much, but I come out of psychiatric hospital, and one of the biggest fears in my life was being me. Just authentically in everyday scenario, being me. My biggest anxiety is a social anxiety. So I can go and speak to 100 people, go and play in front of 90,000 people, bump into someone in the street, or sit round a table with dinner with 2 people. Mate, I'm sweating, I'm shaking like a shitting dog, and I couldn't get over that, and that's That's because I thought they would see the real me and they might not like it.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else at a distance only gets to see what I show them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So coming out of psychiatric hospital, I'm like...
So wait, just flip it back then. So that season, it's got to the point where you're out Fridays. Has he in all the way recognised this and said, look, you need to get yourself sorted out, you need summer?
He hasn't said anything to me directly, as far as I can remember.
Is anybody else picking up on it?
But like I said, you know, lads like Mark Bircham, Kevin Gallen, Steve Palmer, they've all picked up on it. And when that happens, and especially their senior players, and I'm still only early 20s at this point, you know where to be now, don't you? You know, and then I got on the bus and I was absolutely stinking. We'd only stopped drinking. It was a 6 o'clocker. We'd watched the Oscars. We had an Oscars party, and we were going to Colchester, I think. So it was an overnighter. It wasn't the day of a game.
It was the Friday
Yeah,
morning.
it was the day before. We were travelling, and Ollie came on a bus. He was like, "You're absolutely stinking. Get off. Come in tomorrow and train with the kids." And I'll see you on Monday. But I didn't. I just went straight from there to the pub, put my bag behind the bar, drank all day that Friday, straight in the pub again Saturday morning. In fact, I can't remember exactly where I was that Friday night, but I was in the pub watching Soccer Saturday. The lads scored, and I was like, "Yes, go on, lads." And I'm like, "Clarke, what are you doing?" You know, sat in a pub watching the score come in, a team that you should be playing for in the career that you've wanted to do ever since you were 5 years of age, you know, blah, 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 blah. And it was a little bit of an epiphany. And I called Ollie and I said, "Ollie, I want to stop drinking, but I just can't. I can't say no for some reason." And that's why I always thank him, because 2003 this was. And football is ruthless, you know, it's ruthless. And he could have said, apparently, I think he was thinking about sacking me because of what I'd done. And with me admitting where I was at, he had every right to sack me. But he said, "Clarke, I don't know the answer, but I'll find a man who does." And it was from there he took me to Tony Adams' clinic in Liphook, and the PFA paid for me to go through the clinic 28 days, and I came out of there sober and fit, because that's what they do, you know, they marry that with your physical training. Got back in the side and got player of the month for that first month with ginger hair. It was ridiculous. I dyed my hair ginger. Well, I tried to dye it blonde, but it came out ginger. so it's a home job.
So did you phone him that Saturday then, or were it the Saturday that you phoned him after the game, or?
I spoke to him on the Sunday, because I was supposed to be in on the Saturday, didn't turn up. Supposed to be on the Sunday, didn't turn up, and I called him on the Sunday from the pub.
So that's when you thought, right, this is me. I need to get.
Yeah,
Sounds like rock bottom.
Pretty much, mate. Pretty much for that situation. Yeah, it sounds like rock bottom, but do you know what? In the context of my life, it wasn't, Barry. It wasn't
At that time.
Yeah, at that time it was. At that time, I thought I was an alcohol addict. I thought I was addicted to alcohol, and that alcohol was ruining my life. I went to the clinic, stopped drinking. I was sober for 2 years, but still I was sabotaging in dramatic ways. So it's only now I look back that on all the things that I used to do, whether it was drinking or gambling or whatever it was, I was never addicted to them. I was always running away from me. And once I came out of psychiatric hospital and I dealt with me, and it's taken like 14 months of counselling for me to get to this place of wellness, and I know who I am. There's no attraction in the stuff I used to run to. You know, now I'm comfortable where I'm at. I don't want to hide from anything. I don't need to escape from anything. So I'm all right, Jack. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You know, those things were attractive because I was desperately getting away from here. But now I'm happy here. I don't need to go there. So I could take or leave any of those things.
So do you finally feel like you can be yourself?
I can be myself, and this is the amazing thing is I came out, I started to be myself. Do you know what? I'm an all right guy. I'm all right.
We'll be the judge of that.
I'm quite a nice guy, and I'm a good father. I'm a loving husband, and I'm all right. It just astounded me.
I'm sure every changing room you've been in, every changing room you've been in, everybody will say that would have said that you're a good lad, you're a great lad.
But my perception of it is 1,000 people could have said you were a good lad. But if there were one person that said he's a dickhead, you'd have listened to that one person instead of 1,000.
Nailed on. You've hit the nail on the head. This is something else I've had to learn. I'm comfortable in me, and outside of me there are certain opinions that matter and ones that don't. And in my life there's probably maybe half a dozen people whose opinions genuinely matter, who I'll take on board, consider, maybe make some changes if necessary. There are 7.62 billion others that really don't. And I can't make you like me, Brownie. I can't make that happen. You can think exactly what you want to think. It has no direct effect on my life. So if you like me or you don't, that's your bad. That's your decision to make.
At least you're just being yourself.
And that's and I'll be me. And as long as I can go home, look in the mirror and think, I was true to myself today. I gave my best today. Well done, son. Well done. Go and have a good night's kip. That's it.
Did any of the other lads in the changing room at that time? No. Was it commonplace with the severity of that you needed to go to the clinic?
That's a good question. No, I don't think it was commonplace, because there'd only been maybe half a dozen guys who had admittedly gone to the clinic. Tony Adams, I think Paul Merson might have gone. This was still at the very early stages of people being not acceptant of guys going through rehab, but acceptant that they can come back and still be part of a group. And because sometimes there were some guys in the dressing room who might think that my behaviour reflected or mirrored theirs, and they don't want to think that I've got a problem, because that might mean that they've got a problem. And that's a kind of misunderstanding, because the amount that you drink's irrelevant. You might go out and drink 1 million pints, and you might go out and drink one. It's why you're drinking. The action is irrelevant. It's the motivation behind the action. So if I was going to have a night out and I went out till 6 a.m, and the reason why I did it was because it was a Christmas do, I was having a great crack with my friends, and the places that it took us meant that it was there, and we got home, that's wonderful. But if I go out for 3 hours and I drink to get absolutely battered, and it's because I'm really, I don't want to think about what I'm going through, and I feel like this, and I need to not feel like this, mate, that's dangerous. So the amounts, the length, going on a lad's holiday for a week, that doesn't make you an alcoholic. People get confused. Addiction, and a physical addiction, can be overcome in 2 days. You can have a 48-hour, 72-hour detox. Physically, you're done. But your psychological or your emotional habitual need to get in there, that's something that takes work. So
understanding the reason why you want to go in.
That's it. Why are you doing what you're doing? Not what are you doing?
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, if the centre halves in Clarke's dressing room were not playing, they're quite happy he's doing that.
Oh, you're not wrong.
When you go back to the start, when you said your first opponent's your teammate, there'll be lads thinking, well, even fucking dropping it into the gaffer, it's fucking stinking today, innit? Stuff like that.
As well. Yeah. Do you know, that's a really good point. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm good at this.
Should be a psychologist, mate.
So, how much is this costing me?
Toilet break.
Yeah.
Fag break. I'll carry on from where we were at, because Ollie was about to sack me, and he could have sacked me. Anyone could have done, but he got me the help. that I needed at that time. And the reason why I always say thank you to him is because people are cutthroat in football. It's a brutal industry, but he didn't just get me the help I needed. He went a step further, and that Christmas 2003, because I was going to be in London on my own, he invited me over to his house to have Christmas dinner with him and his family. Stayed with them for a couple of days, which was incredible. This guy with so much charisma and energy, and in his own house, he's the quietest of those.
You like the rest of us fucking them back.
It was incredible because he has 2 deaf daughters, and he's signing to them and shouting in their faces at the same time. And that's like, what is this? It was just mayhem.
It's a great gesture.
It was a magnificent gesture. And he looked after me as a human being and not as a footballer at his football club. I've got a lot of love
Was he
for
still
that.
there then when you left?
Yeah,
because they offered
he
you
was.
a new contract.
He did. They offered me the best contract that I'd ever have had to date. They offered me a contract that I wasn't going to get anywhere near for the next 6 years of my life. You don't know that at the time, but and this is important. I didn't leave for money reasons. I'd come out of the clinic, I'd changed my whole circle of friends because, like we said, my friends didn't have the same responsibilities that I had. They were still going out when they were still going out all the time, and it wasn't that I didn't like them anymore, but that just wasn't going to be my circle. I couldn't do it, mate. I couldn't do it. So I wanted to move back to be closer to my family. I wanted to be closer to my mum and dad in Preston. My brother was in Lostock Hall, my sister was in Cumbria, and I thought, right, just get back up north and be close to family who can support you.
New start.
Yeah, definitely a new start. Open a new page and maybe reinvent yourself.
Yeah,
because that's what you can do in football. You change club and you have an opportunity.
The footballer formerly known as.
Yeah, I'm Taff Cap. Formerly known as Pisshead.
But you must have still been doing really well on the pitch for them to offer you such a great contract.
Yeah, well, that's just it. Without the distractions, I was physically better. I was more athletic. My performances were more consistent. I was playing very well. Still, I was still exploding in other ways that weren't as physically destructive as drinking was. So I wouldn't come into training for a couple of days, because I've been at a casino or I've been asleep or stuff like that. But again, at that time, we didn't realise that it was an issue. We just thought that I was an idiot.
Right.
Does that make sense? Yeah. So
you still not turning to training and
at times, yeah.
Was it still Holloway?
Yeah, it's still.
How did he deal with that?
I just because we'd opened the book to addiction and recovery and stuff. We'd opened communication lines, and I would say to him, Gaffer, I'm not in today. I need to look after myself. And he would give me like the respect to saying, okay, son, you do what you need to do, but I need you to be in tomorrow or the next day. I'd be like, okay, boss, I'll see what I can do. So it was kind of he was trying to help me in my recovery, giving me almost special dispensation to work around that so that I could apply myself on a Saturday.
So were the rest of the lads? Because footballers are arseholes. Well, the rest of the lads like, why? I know he's been through this, but should he be getting this?
I've got to be fair to the lads. They were incredibly supportive.
Yeah.
Very, very supportive. And I don't think I've been at a club where I wouldn't have been supported. Most of them have been, a decent, at the core of them, a decent set of lads. And you look after your own, don't you?
Yeah, but a centre-half who's not playing, right, he's not been in 3 days this week.
Yeah.
Why should he be playing and I'm not? That's the mentality that we obviously went back to right at the start.
Is that a completely open book amongst the old squad?
Yeah. I didn't have any secrets, and people had asked me questions. We'd talk about what I was doing and how I was managing it. And it was all on that single track, though. It was all down through the lens of drink, rather than through the lens of my emotions or my psychiatric health, because we didn't know it. We didn't know anything about that. So as long as I wasn't drinking, everything was all right.
Yeah.
It's like the problem's solved.
Yes, yeah. There is no problem because there's no drinking involved.
He's not coming in pissed anymore, so it must be all right.
Yeah.
So is there any other diagnosis at this point?
No, nothing. There's not even a diagnosis. I haven't been to see a medical professional.
Right.
I've just gone to an alcohol rehab centre to stop me drinking. And in that rehab centre, I made my best life friend, a man called Peter Kerr, passed away a few years back, and he was the chief exec of the clinic, and we just hit it off, mate. We got on so well. He was the first person in my life who I could be me with, like warts and all.
Is this even your wife as well?
Oh yeah, definitely, mate.
So you could be yourself with him before your wife?
Definitely. 1,000,000%. And this was my ex-wife at that point.
Right.
In fact, at that point, I wasn't even married. This was before I'd met my ex-wife. Oh no, I just started seeing her, maybe, and someone else. I'm not sure.
No, a woman somewhere.
But I'm going to say this, and this is going to resonate with you, whoever you are. You have a face for different people. So I'd be like this when I came home to my family, and I'd be like, oh yeah, everything's great down there, magical footballer, I'm the da-da-da-da-da, all well and good. I'd be this for the lads. Oh yeah, I'm the joker, I love a night out. When I was trying to be intellectual, I'd be this for those people, and I was trying to be I had a different face for every crowd. And it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. I was juggling all these personas, and at the clinic, it was the first time that I sat down and asked myself, which one of these is actually me? So when I put myself out there and just was me in front of Peter Kay, and he accepted it, and not only that, we got on really well and we connected on that level. It's the first time I felt like I've made a true friend. It was so bizarre.
Sorry, Clarke. What did he do different to anybody else that you'd met? How did he get that out to you, though?
How did he get it out of me? Oh, that's a good question. I think it was more the fact that I was at a point where I'd had enough. So I don't want to say that he could have been anyone, but it was the right person at the right time. I was in that environment where I wanted to lay all my shit down. I was sick of all the skeletons in my closet. I was sick of hiding this. I was sick of pretending to be that. And I laid everything out there. And
that must have been a massive, massive relief.
Oh, mate. I swear I must have been 2 inches taller when I left that place. Just being free of no secrets.
Yeah. Even if it's just to one person.
Utterly incredible. Incredible.
Could you never get that way with Holloway? Do you know when you've had obviously got a good relationship with him? Could you not?
No, I don't think you could.
Is that just because it was you still had that relarelationship? He was your manager,
There's
so
still
it was
that
something.
dynamic. Yeah, there's the employer-employee relationship.
Still got that. You don't want to tell him too much in case he flips the other way and goes, "Tell you what, I'm the manager of my football club, and this is too much for
far."
me."
Yeah.
Then obviously
there's a line that you'll cross, isn't there? Especially the way that I was behaving at certain times. It's the same when I was caught out with my ex-fiancée or my ex-wife. You never want to. You don't lay it all out there. You lay as much as you feel you can get away with. That it seems like you've told on yourself. But you don't want to do too much to ruin the relationship. You want to make sure that you've still got something to cling on to. And it's a horrible existence, mate. It's a horrible existence. Lying, I lied for so much of my life, and being without that now is just it's bloody brilliant. Honestly, you know, not having to like freeze and shit myself when my phone rings or when it messages. You know, not just the connotations like, oh, who is it? Does my wife want to know who it is? Or it might be, oh, who is it? What are they saying to me? What have I done now? What have I been caught out for now? What's gone wrong now? Just that freedom of someone ringing me up and going, yeah, and what? You know, what do you want? I know my life's good, but it took me a long while to get to that. I didn't get to that straight from there because I went to Leeds. I went to Leeds to be close up north, and life intervened. And life intervened by giving me a manager who I fucking despised.
Blackwell.
Yeah.
We've had a few on who's not spoken very highly of him.
You know, I put it in my book. I put it out there exactly how I felt, and he got his lawyers on the case, and we replied to them and said, look, A, it's an honestly held opinion about the man, and B, he's got corroborating statements from 7 other people to back up, you know, what he was saying about that time, and I've got all the time in the world for someone to admit that, you know, they maybe did something wrong and they've learnt and they've moved on, because I'm a walking example of that. You know, I know that I can change my mindset and stuff, but my comments were about Kevin at that time. And I found him an incredibly disrespectful man, and I've got no time for that in my life.
What was it that you said that made him get the lawyers? What was so...
well, I think it was just because I put it in the book that he was the single most disrespectful person that I've played under, that he was a very poor manager. I read the book. Go on.
As if he's got the lawyers for that.
It'll cure your insomnia.
Fucking piss poor Kevin. He's worse than Worthington for me.
The bizarre thing
he'd signed you though. He'd signed you.
He did. He signed me, and he signed me. QPR offered me $4,500 a week, and Leeds offered me $2,500 a week. And they'd just come out of the Premier League, hadn't they? I was speaking to Neil Warnock at Sheffield United, so you know he offered us a contract there.
Is you being to the Priory? Is this common knowledge?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
it's been in
managers,
papers and everything.
So
Everyone knows. You know, there's no secret.
Yeah.
So much so, I went to Stoke. Went to speak to their manager. Do you remember the Dutch guy? Was it Boschkamp? Yeah. I went to speak to him and he went, oh, sure you like a drink. Oh yeah, he went, oh, so do I.
You sound like the Mask.
Fucking Sean Connery has
It was brilliant. So do I.
I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you.
I didn't sign for Stoke.
That could have been a different Christmas day then, couldn't it? If it had been right to you around for dinner.
Oh, bloody hell. It's a sherry at Christmas. Yeah, so Kev signed me there, and I was buzzing. Can you imagine signing for Leeds United?
Massive
You know,
club.
thinking that I'd made the fuck up of all fuck ups, that my career might have been on its arse, and then getting back fit, being offered a good contract, making a choice that's not about money, that's about me and family, and then seemingly landing on my feet, getting a gig at Leeds United. You know, so even the fact that they offered me almost half what QPR, it was irrelevant. It was a massive opportunity for me. I was buzzing for it.
Still some players there as well, isn't there?
Oh, there were.
Lucas Radaby.
Yeah, Chief was still there. Seth Johnson.
Gary
Kelly.
Yeah, Kells was there.
Brian Dean. Was it?
Big Dino. They signed Julian Joachim. Danny Cadamatri. Doobs was still there. Paul Butler came in. Griggs came. Cool.
You had some centre halves then, didn't you?
Yeah.
4 or 5.
Well, he played Griggs in midfield, actually.
Centre mid then,
yeah, he played him in midfield.
What, till he started clapping the timber on?
What started? Oh my goodness. Do you know, I'm glad I didn't room with Griggs. Griggs took a 4-pack and a bottle of red wine every overnight trip, didn't he?
Is that right?
Am I allowed to say that? Yeah.
Throw Griggs under the bus and I went with
Kenner's had been
Kenner's
on,
had-
Paul McKenna.
Yeah, he couldn't sleep without that, Griggs.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was incredible. It's a good job I didn't room with him. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Kev was doing what he was doing, and to manage a club like Leeds United, you need to have charisma. You got to have something about you. But I think it's got to be earned, and B, it's got to be done respectfully. One of my core tenets in life is treat people with manners and respect. And he was so dismissive, especially of the kit man and of the physio. And usually they're the two guys who were closest to players. And he was coating them off left, right, and centre. And Adi Boothroyd, he brought him in as a coach, and he was a really good coach. He was kind of exciting, new ideas. It was all about moving the ball and all this and that. And Adi had put a really good session on, and then Kevin had come down from his lofty tower, and he'd come striding over in his Cuban heels, and he'd be like, no, Adi, that's shit. Go and do the kids, I'll take this session. And we'd do the worst session ever. And the lads hated him for that.
I can imagine Eddie Bullfroy did as well.
Me and Adi, whenever Leeds had nights out, there'd be me and Adi. Adi'd be breakdancing, right, spinning on his head. I'd be hiding round the corner having a toke, and we'd both be coating off Kevin Black. Can't stand him in Mike Baldwin. Oh, can I say that? I can, because it happened. It happened, and that's how we felt. So Adi left, didn't he, and got the job at Watford. And
that surprised me though. You said Eddie Bullfroy were on about pass because the Watford team were just big, strong, fucking smashed it up to Darius Henderson. Marlon came running off him, got promoted.
This is the difference between coach and manager. He was a coach at Leeds, and he was there to make us technically better.
Yeah.
And he's very good at putting sessions on. He's a very decorated coach, as is Kevin himself. And he put on really, really good sessions. But when we got down to Watford, it was meticulous. It was scientific. It was mathematic. It was percentages.
That's why you went?
It was you do this and you do that. Yeah, I loved it, mate. I was like,
we're talking figures.
483. I've got it. I'm 208.
Did he come for you straight as soon as he got
there? No, he went down there, and I came back from pre-season. Came back from off-season to pre-season, and I'm going to tell you this story as it happened. We're doing a pre-season training, and we all had our balls, and Griggs kicked my ball away, and Kevin said, go and get it. I was like, okay, so I strolled over. He said, fucking go and get it. I said, I'm going to get it. He said, when I say go and get it, you fucking run and get it. I said, okay, so I bopped into a little bit of a bobble. This is supposed to be a rest in between the session. Pick the ball. I saved your fucking career. When I say run for the ball, you run for the ball. I said, save my career? I said, you gave me a 40% pay cut, you dick. And just walked off. And I walked off the training pitch, and I've never done it before in my life. Walked off the training pitch, he went, if you walk off, never come back. I just flicked in the bird over my shoulder. That's it. I was done with him. Absolutely done with him.
That was the only argument, the actual argument.
That's the only face-to-face confrontation we had was that there.
It must have been bubbling.
He was trying. Of course it was. He was trying to mug me off in front of the rest of the group, and no. I wasn't a kid anymore. It's like 20, 25, 26 years of age. I played 250 first team games. I knew what success and failure was, and he was saying that he saved my career. I could have gone to a number of other clubs and got paid far more money, but I didn't. I went to Leeds for A, the geography, and B, the fact that it's a massive club. One of the things that I'm so sad about on reflection is that I wasn't there with a different manager, because Leeds is such a big club, mate. I'd have loved to have been there for longer.
But he couldn't have lasted much longer.
I don't know. I took absolutely zero notice.
Did he play you?
Yeah, I played 38 games. Yeah.
So he obviously liked you as a player then?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I was not as good technically as Doobs. I couldn't pass a ball like Doobs could. I wasn't as quick as Doobs. I don't think I was as tactically aware as Paul Butler. Butts was a captain, wasn't he? He was a leader. But I would have had myself in the side ahead of those two at that time. At 25 years of age, I thought I was an athletic specimen. I had a bit of fire in my belly. But I don't know, sometimes it just don't work, does it? You know, sometimes your face don't fit. I played 30 odd games. I think I scored half a dozen goals. I got a boot sponsorship with Kelmy. Who? I know.
I remember them.
Exactly.
I remember him.
The lads called them Kelmy pasties. they were just,
Kelmy stand
they were
finders.
oblongs. Hey, when we got relegated with Blackpool, Carling Opta Index, I had the most clearances in the whole of Division 2. The thing is, 50% of them were passes. Just went straight down the prom.
Donkeys ducking. There must be at home today, Ned.
So no, I walked out of training and I got I had an agent at the time, just said put the word out that I need to go, and AD called straight away. He said, Clarke, come down here.
You're not concerned about going
Yeah, you're back into the...
back in the mix?
No, because this is what I was about to say before. I didn't stay honest and true for, you know, once I got up to Leeds and I got... do you know what I was? I was quite weak as a person, because I went there and there were all these domineering characters. Like Doobs is a big character, Butts is a big character, Sean Gregan, big character, Seth, a big character, and I felt like I needed some kind of... I needed an in there.
Persona.
Yeah, I needed to fit in there,
And the way in
and I
was
didn't know what it was going to be.
socially.
And what I brought there, me not drinking and being a recovering alcoholic and all good and true, it didn't fit. It so didn't fit. First day I walked in there and, you know, I was all about Clarke and this clean-cut image, and I bought these new smart jeans and a shirt and everything. We went out to training, we come back and it was on a hanger, shredded. And my brand new shoes had been shredded. And,
That first day?
First day in there. Doobs did it, actually. I only found this out later. And I wanted to cry. I'd never spent so much money on clothes in all my life. And effectively, that cut up all of my intentions, because I just felt like so insignificant. You know, I felt like the butt of everyone's joke. So in my head, I was like, right, what can I do to impress these guys and fit in? And we had a night out, and obviously Clarke's an insane drinker. So that's what I did.
How did you react to that situation there and then? Did you laugh it off?
Yep, I laughed. I kept my... Did I laugh? No, I said, who's done this? Who's done this? Come on. I actually shouted, who's done this? Who's done this? And everyone was laughing. And so I laughed and then just got in my car in my training kit and went home. But I cried on the way home.
So on that first day, the mask's up straight away again.
Yeah. Straight up. And not only I've actually gone home and I've had to think about how I can come back and be even bigger and better and more brash than I've ever been in my life.
So now you strategies in your head of how we've got to deal with that.
I came in a Range Rover, had just bought a new model out, and I had bought the last of the old model, and it was in a shitty bronze colour. So I rolled up there, and Michael Ricketts is there in his Aston Martin, and he said, "What the fuck is that?" And it's the best car I'd ever had. And I was like, "Oh yeah, mate, you know, it's just my run around." Just my run around. The club was way above my financial station, to say the least, way above any kind of level that I'd experienced before. And within the first 2 days, I'd been beaten. I've been made the butt of the jokes enough to feel like I had it all to do.
The thing is, we've just spoke about the first 5 minutes is exactly what we spoke about. Him hanging gear up, somebody taking the piss out of you.
Asking to see you knob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And nobody knows how...
That
By the way,
person's reacting with it.
We're in Bolton, by the way, so this might not be the last police car you hear. See, like that Dewberry, effectively doing that, he just thought that were crack.
Yeah, he did,
Total
yeah.
crack. No malicious intentions or anything.
Exactly.
And he obviously got no idea where that led and what.
But
but ignorance is bliss, isn't it? By doing that, there's a certain. I always think it's like talked about with Tony Adams, who Kevin Campbell said that he was a great captain because he knew how everybody needed to be treated.
Yeah.
And as a great captain, he's shown that intelligence of knowing you've got to put your arm around him, and you can take the piss out of him, and you can
can't
do
know
this
on the
to
first day, can you?
No,
Yeah, that's true.
but then you don't do it on the first day.
Yeah. Was there a point? Obviously, you've been captain, and you're almost expected to be a Tony Adams. Get round, and in theory, you're the one that needs an arm around your shoulder.
Mate,
and nobody. That's a stress in itself.
Nobody ever knew it. Now, this is where another dynamic comes in. Yeah, I don't know if you ever felt this in your career. There are so many times before I was diagnosed and before I was working on myself that I had this. It was like a charlatan complex. You know, I felt like a massive fraud. So I would go in and I would be the leader. And I would go and do all those things that are necessary, and I'd come away feeling like an absolute fraud, like, oh, if you only knew, oh my gosh, I need this, oh, da, da. And then that would be the trigger for me to go and do something so that I'm not feeling like that, and get away from that until it passes, and then I'll go in again the next day and stick the mask on.
Must have been awful, mate.
Yeah, how do you know? How do you know something's awful when it just is? When it's your life,
That's just you.
It's just your life,
normal.
you know, and you
It's just the norm,
you
innit?
think everyone else thinks like you do, and everyone else is going through what you are. But it's only like when I can step aside and look back, and I think, wow, bloody Nora, I did what I did, despite all the shit that I lived with. You know,
that's what I was going to end on. The fact that you had a career at the level that you had it for so long is fucking remarkable, really.
I'm really proud, mate. I'm really proud now.
It's actually remarkable.
Cheers, fella. Thank you.
It is. I mean, like, if it could have been better,
Undoubtedly.
but not that. It could have been better but obviously, if you've got an illness as such, it's not really your fault. I mean,
It's out of your control.
mine could have been better, but I chose to go out as much as I did. I chose to live my life how I did, not through an addiction or whatever, just through me wanting to live my life like that. Where it's a little bit out of your control.
There are portions of it. If we'd have understood it better, I could have brought a lot more of it under my control. Yeah. But that's how it is, mate. It's brought me to where I am now, and do you know what? I'm really happy with where I am now. I like me. I like what I'm doing in my life. I'm really proud of my family. Massive blended family. We've got 5th kid on the way. Mambo number 5 coming. I'm going to be working till I'm 93. But do you know what? I love that.
I wish I'd have stayed at bloody QPR.